Islam Makhachev, Jack Del Lema, Bilal Muhammad, and me. How do we all tie in together? All right, the me part's probably easy. I don't have a lot to do with this. I'm just an observer. And there is most certainly something going on at 155 pounds. That much we know. But it's not necessarily something new. For example, Islam, who is a kingpin in this whole thing. Like think of a bunch of dominoes stacked up. When Islam falls, that's when the whole board gets played. But Islam has been very consistent to say, I'm not doing anything until Bilal and Jack have their fight. So with Bilal and Jack still not having had their fight, like we can't act as though there's something weird, and we can't even act annoyed or frustrated, but now we've got UFC speaking up on this. And the UFC put out a statement. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's going to be Charles Oliveira or Ilia Topuria versus Islam at 155, but there's a catch. Now, right here's where you get excited. But they didn't tell us what the catch was. So we're left a little bit into interpretation, but I think I got it right. I think you guys would agree with me. The catch is, if Islam, in fact, goes 155 pounds, it's going to be Charles or Ilia Topuria. Now, there's nothing new about that. We even had Charles right here on the program. And Charles told us, yeah, man, I'm going to fight right now with Ilia Topuria for number one contendership. I feel it should be me. He feels it should be him. I'm ranked number one. He's a world champion. Who gets the nod there? The number one ranked guy or a guy that's a world champion, but not in the bracket? Okay, fine. But the catch, allegedly, and this is how the statement ends, and I wouldn't even be talking to you right now if it wasn't for the ending of this story. Are you ready? The ending of the story is that if Jack is to get the jump on Bilal, then Islam would be interested in going to 170 for a fight that nobody has asked to see, but that's fine. Sometimes right? Nobody has to see Islam versus Moicano either. Sometimes things work out. To pursue, are you ready? Drum roll, are you ready? Are you ready? Champ status. That is a huge problem. That right there is a huge problem. It is the reason that Volkanovski never became 155-pound champion. Because he didn't have to win. If he lost, which he did, by a sliver, which he did, he still wakes up the next day champion of the world just at 145. He didn't burn his boats. He didn't give his belt up. Now, Islam is not looking to go to 170 for parity or new guys or money or more attention. The hardest opponent Islam faces is the scale. And it's going to cut his career short, the same as it did Khabib's. So Islam is speaking up, and he's saying, somebody get me out of this bracket. That's the exact same thing that Ilia Topuria did, except Topuria didn't play around with Champ. He knew he wasn't going back. He openly admitted, the hardest match I have, and the guy I'm tired of fighting, is the scale. Get him out of my way, and bring me anyone else that you want. And I feel as though Ilia really never got his credit for that, but he deserves it. It was as manly and as courageous of a move as the night that George St. Pierre became the 185-pound champion and gave it back. 8 days after he won it, George gave it back so that the division could move on. George had the right to keep the belt. He had the right to do the media tours. He had the right to have all the sponsors that want to see a guy with a belt over his shoulder. He could have done all of that and played that game for roughly a year, but he would have screwed an entire division of like-minded people with a like-minded dream. And that's exactly what Ilia did. He left completely. As a matter of fact, there was never even a delay. In the amount of time you would want to see the belt defended, even if it was by Ilia, the belt was defended. It was just with two other guys. There wasn't even a delay. And if somebody goes up to 170 and wins, they're not going to return to 155. It's a game. It's a silly game. It's an annoying game. It's a game that Islam is well beyond. And I'll tell you to this point, I don't think Islam said it. I don't think that when the UFC came out and responded and said, we're going to see what happens with Jack and Blahal, because Islam wants to pursue champ status, I don't think the UFC understands. If that, in fact, is their understanding, I think they've got it wrong. I have known Islam for a period of time. And the idea that he would hold up an entire division so that he personally and selfishly could pursue a dream is not the guy I know. Now, nobody wants to see Islam versus Jack. But there is some very interesting things for Islam to do at 170 pounds. Islam versus Rakhmonov is very compelling, for sure. You want to just talk about what moves the needle? Islam versus Rakhmonov, Islam versus Gary. There's something to be said for the parity. But we would all need to stand up and push back. If you can't be world champion, don't leave the division. If you truly in your heart believe you could be world champion, give the belt back at your current division. An athlete's feet have to be put to the fire on that test, or they'll never pass the test.